Welcome back. All right, so 9 games tonight, all on at the same time. Watched what I could, did the best I could. The power rankings board has had a large shift among the teams at the bottom. And I have to say, Buffalo and Detroit, they're making it kind of fun to watch them right now. This is what happens. Late in the season, certain teams will kind of turn things around. A fan base might get kind of excited about next year, and then it doesn't always pan out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, and that's just how that works. The example I use for this year is that LA won 9 of its last 11 last year going into the pause, and then this year it just didn't carry over. So, some interesting results tonight. So we'll go ahead and we'll start off with the Islanders in Boston. Boston hadn't beaten the Islanders all year, and clearly they realized how important this game was. And for the Islanders, just flat, pretty much right out of the gate. At 1:59, Marchand scores from Bergeron and Riley. So, Mike Riley, I believe that's his first point as a member of the Boston Bruins. The Bruins then get a power play. The shots were 9-1 in favor of the Bruins at 9 minutes. Yeah, the Islanders didn't start well. They didn't really finish well either. There's another Bruins power play. The Islanders started getting some shots in the second half. They get a power play. Then there's a 4-minute power play for the Bruins, and during the second half of that 4-minute power play, the Bruins do get on the board. It's Smith from Krejci and McAvoy at 17:55. So that makes it 2-0 in favor of the Bruins after one. Second period, the Islanders had a 2-on-1. Nelson shoots wide. Pasternak then had a chance the other way. He shoots wide on that one. And then at 2:56, it's Zajac. I believe that's his first as a member of the Islanders. From Barzal and Eberle at 2 minutes and 56 seconds. The Bruins had some pressure at 6.5 minutes. The Islanders then had pressure at the other end at 9.5 minutes. And that draws a power play, which leads to a shorthanded chance for Wagner. So, again, good penalty kill. The Bruins then get a power play. That was a no on that opportunity. Varlamov stopped a good chance from Riley. One thing Riley doesn't have to go with his 20 assists is a goal. So we go to the third period with it 2-1. And early, it's Hall from Pasternak at 1:52. And that's great. It's great to see Taylor Hall get his first goal as a member of the Bruins. That's his third on the season. Some strong play in that third period by Curtis Lazar as well. Pressuring the Islanders every time they had the puck, every time he was on the ice. Really, really strong play. Goalie pull then by the Islanders with 2 minutes left, and that leads to an empty netter by Marchand from Pasternak at 18:24, which makes the lead 4-1. And the Islanders did close it out on a power play, but yeah, this just wasn't happening tonight. The Bruins win 4-1. They go to 23-12-6. The Islanders 27-12-4. And based on tonight's results, while the odds of the Bruins moving up is not great, it looks better after tonight, right? So the 3 stars in this one, Marchand, Rask, and Hall. So Taylor Hall's third star in this game. Shots 23-7 Boston in the first, 12-11 Boston in the second, and 10-5 Boston in the third. The final shots were 45-23 for the Bruins. Like I said, they were determined. The Islanders 0 for 3 on the power play. Boston 1 for 5. Going to go out on a limb and say Barry Trotz. Not going to be happy with the defensive effort in this one. Hits 34-23 Islanders. Block shots 19-7 Islanders. Varlamov saves 41 out of 44. And Rask saves 22 out of 23. So, yeah, the Bruins win a big one tonight. And that does get them closer. Now, the Rangers, for their part, they did their best to keep up. For the Devils, they're kind of done. So there are some teams that are absolutely falling quickly down the power rankings board because they just look like they're done. They look like their season's finished, and the Devils are one of those teams. Trouba scores at 47 seconds from Blackwell and Zibanejad. So Zibanejad stays hot with that one. The Devils get a power play. Not happening. Lindgren then scores his first from Panarin and Fox at 6:39, so that's 2-0. Then Panarin scores from Strome and Blackwell at 12 minutes. I mean, the Devils had a power play late, but they're down 3-0 after one period. So the Devils, as it is, I thought, that's probably it. Second period, power play for the Rangers. It's unsuccessful. They don't really need it to be successful. The shots were 7-6 Rangers with 8 minutes left, and then they went on a bit of a run with the shots. Panarin gets his second goal of the game from Strome and Blackwell at 12 minutes and 51 seconds. So the Rangers up 4-0. 4. The Rangers get another power play. It's unsuccessful. Third period, kind of quiet. No shots in the first 3 minutes, and then Kravtsov scores. But wait a minute. Nope, it's challenged by Lindy Ruff. Yep, that's coming off the board. And Rangers fans, not happy with Lindy Ruff challenging that goal and getting it taken off the board. I mean, it's standard, right? I mean, if a goal is offside, no matter what the score is, the coach is going to challenge it. So I understand the upset, and still, I get why Lindy Ruff does that. The Devils would get a power play. They tried, I guess, to break the shutout, but they didn't. So Shesterkin, suddenly red hot. He's got 2 shutouts now. The win's 4-0 for the Rangers. They go to 21-16-6. New Jersey drops to 14-22-6, and they're done. Panarin, Shesterkin, and Blackwell are the 3 stars. So the Devils a couple weeks ago, they were in every game, and they were playing well, and the effort was there, and it just, yeah. Now, the shots tell you the story. 10-3 Rangers in the first, 17-9 Rangers in the second, and in the third, 6-4. Final shots, 33-16 in favor of the Rangers. Power plays, New Jersey 0-3, Rangers 0-2. Hits, 17-11 in favor of the Rangers, so they outshot them and outhit them. Block shots, 20-7 for the Rangers, so yeah, they were way ahead on everything. Blackwood, 29 saves on 33 shots. Devils fans were wondering, why is he still in there? Why don't they just get him out of there? Give him the rest of the night off. Shesterkin saves all 16, like I said, second career shutout. That's back-to-back, isn't it? Not too bad for that goalie. Remember early on in the season when Shesterkin's numbers weren't that great? Nope, me neither. But that time is now over. All right, next up. I'm wearing Buffalo. And I thought about it. I debated about whether or not to wear Buffalo or whether or not to wear Dallas. I really debated about it, and I thought, no, I'm going to wear Buffalo because this was impressive. This isn't some kind of a fluke. This isn't like the Capitals didn't try. This is that Buffalo just, to me, flat out beat them. It's game number 1,000 for Nick Backstrom, so kudos to him for that. Vanacek denied Eakin early on. The Sabres controlled the first 5 minutes, though. Like they were the team with the puck control. Just absolutely insane. Power play then for the Sabres. That's unsuccessful. Olofsson nearly sprung on a break. He'd had a breakaway earlier in the period. And then Reinhart opens the scoring from Cousins and Yoki Haru at 18:50. So in the last minute, there's a power play last minute, the Caps pressed, and they score. It's Orlov from Oshie at 19:37, and it was a play where Tokarski probably should have covered the puck. Instead, he gives it to Oshie, and then it's in the back of his net. So it's 1-1 going into the second period. Not for long in the second period. Olofsson at 1:36. The Caps would get a power play. So here's where the Caps power play should score and tie it up. Not tonight, because we're in Bizarro world. With 3 seconds left in the power play, Mittelstadt scores shorthanded. So he started scoring. Bjork with the assist at 5:42. I told you Anders Bjork was a good player. He's like, oh, they traded for Bjork. What are they thinking? They're thinking this. Underutilized forward in Boston gets a chance in Buffalo. Sabres pressed at 7 minutes, and I just put question marks. I'm like, what's going on here? The Sabres are pressuring. The Caps are stuck in their own zone. The Caps had 12 shots in the first 29 minutes. However, in the 30th minute, Mantha scores from Karlsson and Backstrom at 9:59. So Backstrom with an assist in his 1,000th game. Mantha gets another goal that made it 3-2. Then there's a scrum at the Sabres net with 8 minutes left. Some unhappiness. And then Bjork scores from Cousins at 13:23. He has a goal and an assist. Yep. So the thing with Bjork was the talent was always there in Boston. It just wasn't working. It never clicked. He's one of those players that if he finds the right spot, finds the right team, it clicks. It's the reason why teams will have young players that are struggling, but they're really hesitant to want to trade him because you don't want to end up in a situation like that. Ovi then almost gets one late, but he doesn't get 7:29 tonight. So we go to the third with Buffalo up 4-2. Yeah. Early Caps power play. That was a no again. Sprong had a shot that was saved. Tokarski holds on to that. Looked pretty smart, pretty strong. Caps press. They draw a power play. Kuznetsov hit the skate of Tokarski with the shot, and it trickles wide. It was a really nice save by Tokarski. Great skate save. 2 minutes, then a 4-on-4. Then there's a power play for the Sabres. That's a no. They don't want to score on the power. Well, they want to, but they don't care if they don't score on it because it takes 2 minutes off the clock. They pull the goalie with 2:05 left, and it's Tage Thompson with a goal from Asplund at 19:17, as there was some miscommunication with the Capitals, and Asplund just goes, well, if you guys don't want the puck, I'll take it, and throws it to Thompson, and it goes in the empty net. So it's 5-2 is your final in favor of Buffalo. Buffalo, 11-25-7. Washington, 28-12-4. And so they lose out on an opportunity to gain more ground on the Islanders. They don't gain ground. They lose ground on the Boston Bruins. Of course, they'd be worried then about what's Pittsburgh going to do. And we'll get to what happened with Pittsburgh tonight as well. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic result for Buffalo. Backstrom, Bjork, and Cousins are your 3 stars. Backstrom being the first star, as it's his game number 1,000. Shots favored Buffalo in the first and second, 12-8 and 13-9 respectively. In the third, Washington kind of wakes up and outshoots Buffalo 12-5, but Tokarski was pretty darn good. Final shots 30-29 in favor of Buffalo. Buffalo 0 for 2 on the power play. Washington 0 for 3. Hits 28-13 for Washington. Block shots 14-10 for Buffalo. Tokarski 27 saves on 29 shots. Vanacek saved 17 out of 21. He's replaced by Craig Anderson, who saved all 8 shots he faced. So does Craig Anderson get a start before the end of the year, or what's going to happen there? All right, let's continue down Bizarro World with Carolina and Nashville. Nashville came into this one on a hot streak, but it is Carolina. Carolina, a team that's had, their share of setbacks over the last few weeks here. But you know what? Tonight they were pretty good. They were Carolina. Preds get a power play. You end up with 4-on-4 play after that. Carolina with the power play coming out after that. The shots were 2-2 with 9 minutes left. So this was a very, I'm not going to say slow, but it was a chess match to start things out. And, this is a situation where both teams realize what's on the line here. Solid penalty kill by the Canes when the Preds did go back to the power play. And then the Canes score. It's Foegele from Stahl and Mrazek at 18:26. Yes, Peter Mrazek with the assist there. 17.1 seconds left. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. So that would lead over into the second. And in the second period, during that 4-on-4, Svechnikov, who loves open ice, he scores from Hamilton and Slavin at 14 seconds. So 14 seconds into that period, it's 2-0 for Carolina. And then Vinny Trocheck scores at 5:34. So that opportunistic offense for Carolina strikes fast and often, and they're up 3-0 in this game. There's a power play for the Predators. That was a no. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4. Nothing happens there. Carolina emerges from the second period up 3-0. Third period, power play for the Predators. That was a no. Canes get a power play, and during that power play, it's San Jose didn't play tonight. Nashville gets the shorthanded goal. Howla from Sissons and Harper at 9:30. Then there's a too many Preds call, which means it's another power play for Carolina. This time they get the goal rather than the shorthanded marker. It's a power play goal for Carolina. Aho from Trocheck and Svechnikov at 17 minutes and 22 seconds. As icing on the cake, makes it 4-1. That's the final score. 24-20-1 now is the record for Nashville, who are still pretty secure in that playoff spot. But, right, we'll talk about that when we get to it. Carolina 28-10-4, and they lose an opportunity tonight, knowing that Florida and Tampa are playing, and of course that's a 3-point game. So now they're third in the division. 3 stars: Trocheck, Svechnikov, and Foegele. Never mind. Yeah, no, they're tied for first in the division, and the team that lost in overtime is third. There's only 1 point separating the three. All right. Shots 6-6 in the first, 14-6 Carolina in the second, 9-8 Carolina in the third. Remember, it's a lot of hockey I watched tonight. So, final shots 29-20 for Carolina. Nashville goes 0 for 4 on the power play. Carolina 1 for 3. Hits 32 apiece, so very physical game. Block shots 11-7 in favor of Carolina. Saros 25 saves on 29 shots. Mrazek 19 saves on 20 shots. And not too bad. Trocheck, Svechnikov, Foegele. Not too bad on the 3 stars. I might have thrown in Mrazek, but again, they only had 19 saves on 20 shots, so relatively light night for him. And now we're going to go ahead and change boards. So mine are great. With the change from Fox Sports to Bally's, the music for the Bally's games gets stuck in my head, and it just loops, and it drives me completely and totally mentally insane. Because remember, that's what a lot of the feeds are I'm going to be watching is the Bally's games. And the Fox Sports, it really didn't get stuck in my head too much. But it's sort of driving me crazy. So, just saying, if you agree with this at all, if you agree that with the switch to Bally's, it's not just the silliness of the score along the bottom of the screen, but the music, just let me know. I'm not going to end up being a guest on any of their programming, am I? All right, so Tampa Bay and Florida. This was the battle for potentially first. We already talked about Carolina, so this was the battle to stay tied with Carolina, right? Shots were 4-1 for the Panthers at 6.5 minutes, and the Panthers played fantastic hockey tonight. If you need an example of why Vasilevsky, in my eyes or in the eyes of others, is the best goalie in the league, tonight's game should really illuminate that fact. And the reality that when he's not in net, Tampa's average to not very good. These things are related. The Bolts were on their heels a lot in that first period. Palat had a near miss in front of the net. And then at 15-13, the Panthers get the lead, rightfully so. Hornquist from Wenberg and Nudavara. So they come out of a first period where they've dominated Tampa, but they're only up by 1. Second period, Panthers get a power play. During that, Nikita Gusev hits the side of the net. They did give him power play time. He had a lot of ice time. I think it's only a matter of those opportunities. Only a matter of time before those opportunities pay off, right? I just didn't want to say time again. Bolts then get a power play and they score on it. And it's Killorn and Vasilevsky with the primary assist at 13:28. And the app changed who had it. They gave it to Cirelli after, and then they changed it back to Killorn. It's obnoxious. Then in the last minute, the Panthers get a power play. But that carries over into the third where it's killed off. And then there's a power play for the Bolts. That becomes a 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off in that. So we're still tied at 1. Vasilevsky, fantastic game to that stage. The shots were 11-1 in favor of Florida 6 minutes into the third period. To say Tampa came out flat would be an understatement. And then it's Duclair from Huberdeau and Nudavara at 7:13. It was a 2-on-1, Huberdeau and Duclair. Fantastic pass by Huberdeau. And so Duclair buries it, and it's 2-1. And then at 9:57, there's that dastardly Colton again, right? He scores from Sergachev and Coleman at 9:57. Of course he does. And that tied it up. And it was pretty clear to me after that even though Tampa's allowing opportunities and Florida's out shooting them badly, I kept thinking, this is going overtime. This is going to end up in overtime. So in overtime, right after a great save by Vasilevsky, it goes the other way. And at 54 seconds, Hedman scores. Killorn and Vasilevsky have the assists. Vasilevsky with 2 assists in this game. Yeah, it's the 80s all over again in this one, but only in that regard. Only in that regard. Tampa wins this one 3-2. The Tampa Bay Vasilevskys go to 29-12-2. And for Florida, very frustratingly, they dropped to 27-12-5. They were the much better team in this game tonight. 3 stars, Vasilevsky, Barkov, and Hedman. Shots in this one favored Florida all the way through until overtime. 13-4 in the first, 9-8 in the second, 15-5 in the third. In the overtime, Tampa outshoots them 2-1, including the one that matters. Final shots, 38-19 for Florida. Florida 0-for-3 on the power play. Tampa Bay 1-for-2. Hits, 35-26 for Tampa, which makes sense because they never had the puck. Block shots, 11-7 for Florida. Drieger, 16 saves on 19 shots. Vasilevsky, 36 saves on 38 shots. You put any other goalie in this game, and Tampa loses. There's no way they beat Florida. Vasilevsky stole it. That game puck is his. 100%. Next up, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. So this was an interesting game, kind of a chess game going on here, and it was kind of the restoration of Carter Hart. So we've heard a lot this year about how Carter Hart's garbage, Carter Hart's terrible, Carter Hart, and it's never anything good. And I have never jumped on that bandwagon. I have said he needs to be better at times. I've said that, he's young and he needs more support than what he's getting. But I never jumped on the, he should be gone, he's terrible kind of thing, because he's very young for a goaltender. Penguins had no shot 7 minutes into this game, so he had time to get adjusted. There's 2 ways to look at this. Either a goaltender is going to be cold because he's not facing shots, or he's going to get kind of comfortable. He's going to be able to just, not worry too much. The puck's at the other end. He can get out of his head a little bit, and he doesn't have to worry about that early goal. And I think with Carter Hart, I think it benefited him not to have all that pressure early. Power play for the Penguins. The Flyers then get a power play. During that power play for the Penguins, no shots. Then there's a shorthanded chance for the Penguins, and then coming out of that penalty kill, they end up with a power play. They did get shots on their second power play, but it's scoreless going into the second. First minute, chances for the Penguins. They came out, they had that killer instinct in the second period, which they didn't have in the first. They only had 3 shots. And then it's Crosby from Letang and Dumoulin at 5:04. Crosby gets another stick from the bench and then goes and scores. Crosby-ish kind of play, right? Then there was a crossbar for Philippe Myers, and the Flyers get a power play not too long after that. And it was a strong Flyers press with 5 minutes left, and it was definitely a much more offensively minded second period. Both goaltenders stand out in that second period. We go to the third with Pittsburgh up 1-0. Voracek would score from Myers early in the third at 1 minute and 24 seconds. So it's 1-1, but the Penguins still had some control in this. They were up in the shots 8-6 with 5 minutes left, and then they had no shots after that for the rest of the third period. There was a late power play for the Penguins. Nothing on that. 2:52 left. There's a timeout for the Penguins, and then with 31.5 seconds left, Farabee was guilty of a high stick on Rodriguez. There's no call. Now, here's what I would have done. Personally looking at it, Farabee I would have given the high stick, and I would have given Rodriguez 2 minutes for embellishment. So to me, it would have been 4-on-4. I wouldn't have given a power play either way, because just as one of those things where it's a bang-bang play, and I would have said, you get 2, you get 2. No harm, no foul. That's just what I'm saying. So we go to overtime, 1-1 draw. Hart stopped the Penguins' chances early, and the Penguins had a lot of them. Gensel absolutely denied by Hart. Flyers had a 2-on-1. Farabee misses high, but with 1:57 left, the Flyers get a power play. So the Flyers had that power play. I don't think they had a shot during that power play. They only had one during the overtime. I don't think it was during the power play. But we go to the shootout, and in the shootout, it's Couturier who gets the winner. So the Flyers eke out the 2 points on Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh does gain a point on both the Islanders and Washington ahead of them. They go to 27-13-3. But for the Flyers, they go to 20-17-6. So they keep pace with the Rangers and the Bruins, but just sheer math will tell you it's getting more and more difficult each game for them. 3 stars, Hart, Voracek, and Crosby. The shots in this one, 5-3 in the first in favor of Philadelphia, 16-13 Pittsburgh in the second, and then 8 apiece in the third period. Overtime, Pittsburgh wakes up. They get 5 shots in overtime to only 1 by Philly. They had more shots in overtime than they had in the first period. Final shots, 32-27 in favor of the Penguins. Both teams go 0 for 3 on the power play. The hits, 25-16 for Philly. Blocked shots also favored Philly, 13-6. Hart saves 31 out of 32. Jarry saves 26 out of 27. So for Carter Hart, I don't know where his save percentage sits after tonight, but it's not as bad as it was before tonight. So if he can play like this from here going forward, who knows? I mean, I'm not saying they have a chance of making the playoffs, but they can make it interesting. Next up, Winnipeg. So the Jets and the Leafs. And, it's funny. Every time, honestly, my power rankings... What's the problem? What happened? What happened? What are you meowing at me for? Hi. No, I don't have any treats. Okay, so no, I didn't give him anything. I just petted him. It's okay. Can I resume? Maybe it's the Jets. Maybe I mentioned the Leafs. Is it Leafs? Is that what it is? Is it because there's a duck out there? I hear the duck too. Go look at the ducks. They'll sit and look at the TV all day, and then when there's actual birds outside, they're like, eh. All right, so it's interesting how every time the power rankings, the Leafs get up near or to the top. They've been number 1 once this year. Their next week isn't very good. Galchenyuk, however, scores early in this game, leading you to think, hey, maybe it's going to be good. Tavares and Marner with the assists at 3:42. The Leafs then get a power play. They also had an extended 5-on-3. So there were opportunities there. There's a post for Galchenyuk. So Galchenyuk was close to a 2-goal game, which would have been great for the guy. But it's all killed off. The Jets then get a power play, and it takes them 9 seconds. Yep. Ehlers from Pionk and Dubois at 10:45. And then Kyle Connor scores from Scheifele at 11:12. And then at 13:54, Scheifele on a break from Connor makes it 3-1. So that didn't take long. And after that third goal, Sheldon Keefe decides he's seen enough. Campbell's out. Riddick is in. And it was 3 goals on the last 3 shots for Winnipeg. And again, I'm not saying that, like, you know, that Campbell wasn't playing well. Just it was some surgical precision by the Jets in that first period. So it's 3-1 after the first period. Second period, Tavares scores from Spezza and Robertson at 6:47. So Nick Robertson with an assist there. Spezza with a helper. Tavares now with 2 points. Makes it 3-2. Jets would get a power play. That was a no. And as the period winds down, both teams had chances both ways. Toronto's still in this. We go to the third period. The Leafs started with a 2-minute power play, and that failed them as well. So the power play continues to be the struggle for the Leafs. And while they were winning when their special teams weren't playing well, now they're losing while their special teams aren't playing well. Nick Ehlers scores at 5:34. Absolutely just took the puck from Marner. Just it was beautiful to behold. I've always been a Nick Ehlers fan. I believe that's his 20th of the year. And yeah, that was quite the goal by Ehlers, and Marner's probably still wondering what happened there. The Leafs get another power play. Hellebuck denied Hyman. It's killed off. Marner blasted one that was saved. They did pull the goalie with 2.5 minutes left, and then with 1:44 left, the Jets get a power play. The Leafs pull the goalie anyways because they've got to try, and that allows Connor to get the empty netter at 19:23. So your final score is 5-2. The Jets go to 27-14-3. The Leafs drop to 28-12-4. And so that leaves them 3 points clear of Winnipeg. So would have been 7 if they won in regulation. They lose in regulation, and it's only 3. That's how quickly the picture can completely change right now. 3 stars, Ehlers, Scheifele, and Connor. The shots, 8-7 Winnipeg in the first, 11 apiece in the second, and then the third, 15-5 in favor of Toronto. And 2 of the Winnipeg shots went in, including the empty netter. Final shots, 33-24 for Toronto. But yeah, that's how Winnipeg works. They're very good with the puck. I don't even have to look at the numbers to know they have a really good shooting percentage because they do tend to score goals on very few shots. The final shots were 33-24, as I said, for Toronto. Power plays, Winnipeg 2 for 3, Toronto 0 for 4. Special teams are killing them. Hits 32-15, Winnipeg. Block shots 15-12 for Winnipeg. Hellebuck 31 saves on 33 shots. Campbell saves 3 out of 6. And then Riddick went in and saved 16 out of 17. So Riddick making an argument he should start their next game, which was supposed to be on Saturday against Vancouver, but it looks like that game's going to be delayed. So tomorrow and Saturday's games for Vancouver both look to be shelved until a later date. And we'll get into that in the News of the Day video soon, I'm sure. But yeah, so Toronto has a couple of days off to try to work on this. We'll see what happens, and now I got to change boards. All right, 2 more games, and we'll start with Mickey Redmond being pretty happy right now, isn't he? So, yeah, so while there's all these games on the TV, this game I had on my computer, so I'm listening to this one mostly while I'm watching games and flipping around on TV. This was an interesting game. So for Detroit, they now have 3 wins in a row. They were one of the few teams in the league that hadn't done it all year. This Detroit team's pretty good. This is a hard-working bunch. I've talked about it before, but I think their record right now is starting to show that the hard work is beginning to pay off. And if you're a Wings fan and thinking, man, if this was an 82-game season, I'm not gonna deny that would have made things a lot more interesting, wouldn't it? So the shots were 1 apiece at 4 minutes. The Wings were the better team through the first 8 minutes. They had the better shots. They had more shots. Not a lot being generated by Chicago at that point. Kurashev had a chance that was blocked. The Hawks would press at 9 minutes, not getting a lot of shots, though. There was a post for Doc. Grice then saved the next one. And again, the Hawks pressed again after that, not getting shots. But their third shot goes in. And it's Keith scoring from DeBrincat and Doc at 14:47. And before the period's out, Duncan Keith almost gets another one. So, this is one of those things where they're out shooting their opponent. They've had a good period, but they're down 1-0. But Detroit doesn't give up. Power play for the Wings. We then get 21 seconds of 4-on-4. And Troy Stetcher went, I can do that. During that 4-on-4, he scores from Stahl and Glendenning at 4 minutes and 49 seconds. So 3 guys who might have been traded at the deadline. None of them were. Stetcher, very likely not. Detroit really likes Stetcher, and I think after tonight they like him more. But yeah, those 3 combining on a goal. The Hawks get another power play. There were too many wings on the ice for that one. Kubalik had a chance that was saved by Grice. And after that power play's done, as Vrana exits the box, so it's too many men on the ice, right? You can put anybody in the box you want. Jeff Blashill decides, I'm going to put Jacob Vrana in the box. He's the guy who comes out of the box and he scores on a nice pass from Lindstrom at 8 minutes and 55 seconds. And with that goal, that's not obviously a short-handed goal, but it's a smart one, suddenly the Wings are up. And then less than 3 minutes later, Stetcher scores from DeKaiser and Nemesnikov at 11:15. So, yeah. Then the Wings take another too many men on the ice call. What's interesting is, in between those too many men on the ice calls, there was another one that could have been called that wasn't. Doc hit the outside of the net. That's killed off. It's 3-1 Detroit after 2. Third period. The Wings would press around the 7-minute mark. Zadina misses high. Game was opening up at that stage as well, which makes sense because Chicago really needs goals, right? The Wings had a 2-on-1. Keith defended that. Lankinen denied Ernie. There's a goaltender pulled with 1 minute and 50 seconds left. And guess what? The empty netter scored. Rasmussen from Ernie and Stahl at 18:34. So Ernie's on a point streak. He keeps that going. And Mark Stahl with a couple of helpers. Rasmussen, who's been a very hard-working member of the Wings over the last few weeks, he gets his 3rd of the year. The Wings win this one 4-1. They go to 16-23-6, which is respectable. And for Chicago, they drop to 20-19-5. They have to be happy Nashville lost, but this is a game they need to win. 3 stars, Stetcher, Vrana, and Grice. Thomas Grice continues the huge turnaround in the second half of the season. Shots, 7-3 Detroit in the first, 11 apiece in the second, 11-10 Chicago in the third. Final shots, 28-25 for Detroit. Power plays, Chicago 0 for 3, Detroit 0 for 1. Hits, 19-9 Detroit. Block shots, 24-6 Detroit. Lankinen, 24 saves on 27 shots. Grice, 24 saves on 25 shots. Not too bad. So the goaltending for Grice was rough at certain parts of the year, but you got to give him credit. He's been good over the last, I'll say, 3 weeks, and it's helped the Red Wings now winning 3 in a row. Not too shabby for a team that's. It would be totally understandable if they were mailing it in like Columbus. Is that a segue? Is it? Columbus. I don't know what to say here. So here's the thing, though. I mean, I'm not going to take any credit away from Dallas. That's why I was thinking about wearing a Dallas jersey for this review, because I don't want to take anything away from them. But they took the puck away from Columbus a lot. So the Stars press at 6.5 minutes. Elvis making the saves, and then on the first shot for Columbus, they score. Roslovic from Del Zotto and Grigorenko at 7:16. So of course I'm throwing my arms in the air and going, "Oh, it's not that kind of night, is it?" Where Dallas outplays their opposition and then they lose. That was happening a ton a month ago. It's not this game. Columbus gets a power play. They're unsuccessful on that. That is the only power play they had in the game. This was a relatively clean game when it comes to how many power plays were awarded. Second period, the shots are 5-0 for the Stars at 7.5 minutes. They're getting tons of pressure, tons of opportunities, and Columbus just isn't. Columbus was leaning on Elvis pretty hard. Klingberg took a shot that was caught. Pavelski then was stymied on his opportunity, but eventually they'll start going in. Gurianov scores from Dickinson and Hanley at 16:42. Gurianov has been struggling mightily this year. Tonight's game could be a sign he's getting out of that. Alexiak then had a chance after. Somebody told Alexiak recently, I guess, that he's an offensive defenseman because he's playing like it. Heiskanen then scores from Alexiak and Gurianov at 18:01, and they put together a nice video package of how Heiskanen's goals are very similar. That he'll have it along the boards, he'll drag it out to the middle of the ice, and then he fires it. And he's really quite a good defenseman when it comes to goal scoring. And the turnovers for Columbus in their own end. They mentioned like 3 different turnovers from Max Domi tonight. You just can't be doing that. And I know Columbus is done. I know Columbus isn't going to make the playoffs, but just, I don't know, the play tonight, it has to be frustrating somebody in that organization. Third period. Line A had a drive that was smothered by Alexiak, which I thought was kind of mean. Line A wanted to keep his goal scoring going tonight. Not happening. Columbus really not generating a lot in that third period. Merzlikins denied Foxa, And then it's Gurianov scoring from Lindell and Klingberg at 8 minutes and 16 seconds. That is the first 2-goal game for Gurianov this season. His first 3-point game this season as well. First 3-point game in a while. Gardner then shoots one high. Columbus not getting any offense. I kept waiting for the fight back. There was like one play by Roslovic that kind of just sort of peters out on him. Pavelski then scores from Hintz and Robertson at 15:08. And it was another play. That line, when they click, when the three of them click together, it's fantastic. That's been the best line for Dallas for a while now. So yeah, Pavelski gets on the board. Robertson with an assist. And Rope Hintz continues to be, well, my hero for playing through injury and still getting points. And Columbus just looks done. They fall to 15, 21, and 9. The Dallas Stars go to 16, 14, and 12 with the victory. So that's nice. 2 more wins than losses. 2 more losses than overtime or shootout losses. So 16, 14, 12. That's nice. That's okay. That works from a math perspective. We'll see how the record looks after the next game. And of course, with the loss by Nashville, they go from 7 points back to 5. So yes, if Dallas can make this, I don't know, a pattern, if they can play like this regularly, there's no reason that they can't make a run at the playoffs. The good news is they play against the seemingly done Columbus Blue Jackets again on Saturday. So we'll see if they can replicate this in their next meeting. If they can, we might have something to discuss. 3 stars, Gurianov, Heiskanen, and Ben. I was surprised Ben got the 3rd star. I would have given it to Hintz. Again, playing through injury is impressive. Shots, 7-5 Columbus in the first, and then, nope. 19-5 in the second for Dallas, and 7-6 Dallas in the third. Final shots, 31-18 for Dallas. Both teams go 0 for 1 on the power play. Hits, 20-17 for Columbus. Block shots, 19-8 for Columbus. So they were shot blocking. Merzlikins, 27 saves on 31 shots. And Jake Ottinger, 17 saves on 18 shots. Another win for the kid. Nice to see. Now that we know Bishop's not coming back, Ottinger's going to be a Dallas Stars goaltender. I'll go out on a limb and say next year he may very well be the starter. I think he's played well enough that he should be given an opportunity to be the starter as soon as next season. So we'll see what happens, but hey, let me know your thoughts regarding these games in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, we've got 2 more busy Thursdays to close out April, and then in May, Thursday's not supposed to be as busy. There are a couple of really busy days there, though, including one night where it looks like there's 15 games, and they're all in the evening. So yeah, that hasn't happened this year. That happened a couple of times last season, these really busy nights every Thursday. These happened a few times last season, not like this. But hey, you know, it's still, I mean, the sun's gone down now, but you guys saw light at the beginning of this, right? Right? Yeah, so there you go. We're at that time of year where it's nice and warm. I got the windows open and, you know, nice breeze blowing in so my allergies can act up and people will think, what's wrong with him? Why does he look sick? So, yeah, allergy season is here. Anyways, thank you guys so much for all your support. It means a ton. If you haven't already hit like and subscribe, do. It'll make you feel better. Okay, thank you guys for all the support you've given me, and I'll talk to you again soon.